He had been abandoned, broken, and unwilling to trust again. Families came and went, but the German Shepherd turned away every time. Then one day, a little blind boy walked through the shelter doors, and in that instant, the dog who trusted no one made a choice that shocked everyone. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The animal shelter was always full of noise. Dogs barking, tails wagging, people coming in and out searching for a companion. But in one corner, inside a dimly lit kennel, sat a German Shepherd who was different from the rest. He didn't bark. He didn't wag his tail. He just watched, his dark eyes heavy with sadness, as if he had seen too much of the world already. He had once belonged to someone who abandoned him. Years of loyalty, repaid with neglect. Now even when kind hands reached out, he turned away. He doesn't trust anyone, the staff whispered. And for weeks, no one could change that. Weeks passed and the shepherd's kennel became a corner of quiet disappointment. Families came with smiles, soft voices, and outstretched hands, yet he only lowered his head and turned away. Children offered toys, treats, even laughter, but he retreated into the shadows as if every sound weighed on him. No matter the kindness, he refused every gesture. The staff whispered with worry, "If this continues, he may never leave." It was a quiet afternoon when the shelter doors opened, and a little boy walked in holding his mother's hand. He was no more than 5 years old, wearing round blue glasses, his small cane tapping softly against the floor with every step. The boy was blind, but his curiosity filled the room more than sight ever could. The staff glanced at the shepherd's cage and exchanged doubtful looks. "He won't respond," one whispered, almost certain. After all, no one had ever broken through the dog's wall of silence. But something unusual happened. The moment the boy's cane tapped near the kennel, the German Shepherd froze. His ears lifted, his body stiffened, and his eyes followed the sound with sharp focus. The boy smiled faintly, sensing someone was close. "Can I touch him?" he asked softly, his hand stretching out into the air. For the first time, the shepherd didn't turn away. The boy's small hand trembled in the air, waiting, searching for a touch he could not see. Inside the kennel, the German Shepherd lowered his head slowly, as if drawn by an invisible thread. Step by step he crept forward, his paws making the faintest sound against the floor. The staff held their breath. No one had ever seen him do this before. Families had begged, pleaded, offered treats, but this time was different. The shepherd pressed his wet nose gently against the boy's palm. The child's face lit up instantly. "He's here," he whispered with a smile. Tears glistening under his glasses. The dog didn't growl, didn't hide. Instead, he leaned closer, pressing his whole face against the boy's tiny hand as if he had been waiting for him all along. And then, something even more astonishing happened. A tear slid from the shepherd's eye, rolling down his fur. The boy, unaware, simply giggled with joy. Around them, the shelter grew silent. Staff members and visitors alike watched in awe, realizing they were witnessing a miracle. The dog who trusted no one had finally chosen someone. For a moment, the shelter seemed frozen in time. Staff members who had long given up hope for the German Shepherd stood in silence, their eyes wide. One worker covered her mouth, tears welling as she whispered, "I can't believe it." Families who had come to adopt other dogs stopped in their tracks, drawn by the sight of the shepherd pressing closer to the little boy. The boy laughed softly, his fingers exploring the dog's face with innocent trust. "He's my friend," he said simply, as though it had always been true. The shepherd whimpered gently, refusing to move away from the child's touch. It wasn't just acceptance, it was devotion, sudden and undeniable. Around them, people exchanged looks of wonder. No one had managed to reach this dog, yet the blind boy had done it without effort, without sight. It was as if they were meant to find each other all along. The boy's mother knelt beside him, still uncertain. "Are you sure, sweetheart? He looks so big." Her voice carried both fear and wonder, but the little boy only shook his head, with confidence. "He's not scary, he's mine." The staff stepped forward, emotion trembling in their voices. "Ma'am, this is the first time he's ever opened up to anyone. It's like he chose your son." The mother hesitated, glancing at the shepherd pressed tightly against her boy's legs, refusing to move. His tail, which had never wagged before, now thumped against the floor with steady beats. Finally, with tears brimming, she whispered, "Okay, we'll take him." Papers were signed quickly, almost too quickly, as though the shelter feared the fragile magic might disappear if they waited. And when the cage door opened for the last time, the German shepherd walked out. Not to freedom, but to the boy he had already vowed to protect. From the very first night, the German shepherd refused to leave the boy's side. At home, while the mother tucked her son into bed, the dog curled up right beside him, his body pressed against the floor as if standing guard. Every sound in the house made his ears twitch, his eyes alert, but he never let the boy out of his sight. As the days passed, their bond grew deeper. When the boy walked through the hallway with his cane, the shepherd gently nudged him away from sharp corners, guiding him with instinctive care. At the stairs, he would block the way until the mother arrived, ensuring no harm could come. Neighbors, who once doubted the match, now stood amazed. They watched as the dog patiently led the boy through the park, stopping when he stopped, moving when he moved, like they shared one heartbeat. It became clear to everyone, this wasn't just a pet. The German shepherd had transformed into the boy's guardian angel. Months later, the doctor smiled at the boy's progress. He's happier, more confident. Sometimes animals sense what we can't explain. The boy hugged the shepherd and whispered, "I think he was waiting for me." And somehow everyone knew it was true. The dog who once rejected the world hadn't given up. He had simply been waiting. Now his eyes held not sorrow, but purpose. This is the power of love, the kind that heals both ways.